Hello everyone and welcome to Walking Through the Bible. In today's lesson we come to the end of the list of names who returned from captivity. To us these names have little meaning, but to the returning captives they had great significance, as we will find out in today's reading. So if you have a Bible with you, you can turn to Ezra chapter 2. We're going to start reading at verse 55 and read through verse 70. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry, just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Ezra chapter 2, beginning at verse 55. The sons of Solomon's servants, the sons of Sotai, the sons of Sopharet, the sons of Peruda, the sons of Jaela, the sons of Darkon, the sons of Giddel, the sons of Shephatiah, the sons of Hattil, the sons of Pochereth, the sons of Zibeon, and the sons of Ammi. All the Nethinim and the children of Solomon's servants were 392. And these were the ones who came up from Tel Melah, Tel Harsha, Cherub, Adon, and Immer. But they could not identify their father's house or their genealogy, whether they were of Israel. The sons of Deliah, the sons of Tobiah, the sons of Nekoda, 652. And of the sons of the priests, the sons of Habiah, the sons of Koz, the sons of Barzillai, who took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai the Gilead, and was called by their name. These sought their listing among those who were registered by genealogy, but they were not found. Therefore they were excluded from the priesthood as defiled. And the governor said to them that they should not eat of the most holy things till a priest could consult with the Urim and Thummim. The whole assembly together was 42,360, besides their male and female servants, of whom there were 7,337. And they had 200 men and women singers. Their horses were 736, their mules 245, their camels 435, and their donkeys 6,720. Some of the heads of the fathers' houses, when they came to the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem, offered freely for the house of God to erect it in its place. According to their ability, they gave to the treasury for the work 61,000 gold drachmas, 5,000 minas of silver, and 100 priestly garments. So the priests and Levites, some of the people, the singers, the gatekeepers, and the Nethinim, dwelt in their cities, and all Israel in their cities. Zerubbabel is leading those released from captivity by Cyrus the Great back to Jerusalem and Judea. Upon their return, their task was to rebuild the temple and to settle in their cities. For Judah, though, to resettle their cities, they needed to know which family they came from, for inheritance was determined by family. And for many of them, this could easily be ascertained, as families kept records of their lineage while in captivity. This shows us two things. First, it shows us that captives had fully expected to return to the land. The book of Jeremiah prophesied this, and so did the prophets Daniel and Ezekiel. Which brings us to the second thing, which is because they expected to return, they knew it would be prudent to keep their genealogies. That's why these lists were important to them. As we come to verse 55, we get the records of the sons of Solomon's servants. Back in 1 Kings 9, we read of Solomon making some of the Canaanites, who Israel had left in the land following the conquest, tributes of bondservants. It is these people that we're talking about, as some of them have seemingly survived unto this day and could prove their heritage. However, there were some among the children of Israel who lived in Babylon who could not prove their lineage because they had not kept lists of their families. These people would have been assimilated into Israel, but among them were those who claimed the rights of priesthood, who wanted to be accepted into the priesthood. Among them, we find an interesting name, the sons of Barzillai. Back in the days of David, Barzillai had been among those who aided David after he fled from Absalom. And because of this, Barzillai's family was to be provided for by the forthcoming kings of Judah who followed after David. It seems along the way, though, that one of the priests had married into the family of Barzillai. In fact, the children from that marriage seem to be counted as from the family of Barzillai, thus obtaining that inheritance. From this fact, it seems that the situation that occurred was that along the way, one of the descendants of Barzillai had only daughters, and thus what was supposed to happen, according to Numbers 36, was that these daughters were to marry within their tribe so that inheritance remained within the tribe. It is implied in the text that if she didn't, her inheritance would revert back to her family, who would then distribute it according to instructions found in Numbers 27. However, perhaps since she married a priest who would have no inheritance, the wife was allowed to keep her inheritance, and her children were counted as coming from her own tribe in order that they may inherit it. Doing this would mean that these descendants would not be priests by right. After the captivity, though, these sons of Barzillai wanted to be counted as among the priests because they said that they physically descended from a priest. We don't know why they wanted this. Perhaps it's because the land that they would have inherited wouldn't have been that great due to Gilead falling outside of Judea's borders at that time. The fact remains, though, we don't know. But what we do know is that they wanted to be counted as among the priests. But since they didn't have proof that someone in their lineage had married a priest, it could not be proven that they had the right to act as priests. And so Zerubbabel told them that they may not eat of the most holy things of the temple, that which was reserved for the priests, until a priest could consult with the Urim and Thummim. Recall back to Exodus that the Urim and Thummim is what the priest used to determine God's judgments for the people. He carried it in the breastplate of judgment that he wore. However, Jewish sources confirm that following the captivity, the Urim and Thummim, much like the Ark of the Covenant, had been lost and were never recovered. So, while Zerubbabel had been fully expecting that a priest would one day be able to settle this matter as to whether the sons of Barzillai could serve as priests, such a determination was never possible to be made. And since in order to serve as priests you must be able to prove that you were from the house of Aaron, it meant that without God's direct approval, the sons of Barzillai would not be able to serve as priests. They could still be part of Israel, but not serve as priests. And so the chapter closes by telling us that all those who came back to Judah, besides male and female servants, were 42,360. Now, if you add up all the numbers here in Ezra, you get 29,818. When you compare the number in this list to that found in Nehemiah, you find that it was different, for Nehemiah's list adds up to 31,089. And then the list found in the apocryphal book of 1st Esdras, a book, the Greek Septuagint, that also contains a record of those who returned, adds to 33,950. However, all three of these books agree on one thing, that the total number of captives that returned were 42,360. It is obvious from this, then, that there has been some later copyist errors when copying down the particulars of each family, and since we don't have the original of the book of Ezra, these copyist errors are what we do have. We have seen this happen in the past concerning numbers, and seeing the sheer number of numbers in this chapter, it's easy to see how this happened. Since they all agree on the final number, we can have confidence that that is correct. Note here, though, how small the numbers are that return to Judah. Back in the days of Amaziah, king of Judah, back in 2 Chronicles 25, we learned that he had 300,000 men of war, which he didn't think was enough to go to fight against Edom. Having 300,000 men of war meant the total population was much higher than that. The number returning from captivity was just over 14% of Amaziah's army, though, showing us the humbling of the Jewish nation due to the idolatry which led to their captivity. Sure, there were more Jews as a whole, which we see in Esther. But those who returned to the promised land was truly a remnant, and not the mighty power that existed before the captivity. With the captives having now returned, now was the time to restore worship of God in Jerusalem and rebuild the temple, something that those who were able in Judah would contribute to, and something we'll see, beginning the Lord willing, in the next lesson. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Ezra chapter 3, verses 1 to 7, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. We thank you for watching Walking Through the Bible today. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below. But if you like this video, we ask that you consider subscribing to our channel so you won't miss out on other videos in our series, as well as share this video among your friends so that the saving message of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.